I think that's part of why our political education series is important because everyone knows that um, the new jails are popping up because of the World Cup, so everybody in the world knows that. But I think, and then everybody knows just the effects of high level sporting events on the community. But I don't think that people know like how it's going to affect Kansas City.
It's a symbol kind of what's the city going to do this time to sell us out, because we've seen it time and time again on smaller levels with like ordinances already targeting unhoused people just for being unhoused right before the World Cup and right before they make these World Cup jail.
Money on land to build a new city jail. This is where they spent months and months scheming with jail prosecutors like J.E. Dunn and SFS Architects on this despicable plan to lock up our
like abundance, right? Like we don't have to go out of our neighborhood to get the things that we need. If we need to, get food or vegetables, there's like a vegetable garden or someone nearby who has access to those things for the
Hello, my name is Jasmine, and we are here with the Freedom Builder series. This is the new series here, and I am going to be interviewing Avery and Dominique with the Black Council and Decarcerate KC. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Mm-hmm. I'm Avery. I'm a community organizer with Decarcerate KC and a co-lead of the Black Council.
My name is Dominique. I'm also a community organizer with Decarcerate KC and the other co-leader of Black Council.
All right. So for folks who may not know what the Black Council is, could you please let the viewers know what that is?
Yeah. So the Black Council is basically a kind of an advisory council for Decarcerate made up of Black people. We wanted a Black space that centers just Black conversation, Black ideas, and can inform what happens in Decarcerate as well, serve as like a advisory group.
Yeah, because Decarcerate KC is multiracial, multi-generational, but we do know that a lot of decarceral issues affect predominantly Black people. We wanted to just have that space where we can kind of talk about the effects of our general campaigns for the Black community of Kansas City.
Yeah, that sounds really necessary to have. Okay. And so, what pushed each of you personally to step into the leadership in the Black Council?
We can switch off.
Yeah. I think for me, it was, I think this conversation that started it. I think, I don't know, Avery and I and a couple of other people were like, we need this space. And so I just think that that was how we became co-leads of just like, but like, this is what we want. This is how we should see it. And it's like, well, if that's what you want, how y'all see it, then just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, we could see people, we wanted a space like this, and then we saw other people who were coming into the space, and Black people who I feel like were sensing a need for like a fully Black space, and just weren't fully getting that in Decarcerate, because you just can't get that without having a fully Black space. If it's not a fully Black space, you don't get the same.
It is.
It's just it's good for both different reasons, but yeah, we just thought we might as well do it if we're here and we're people who are always coming and we see it in ourselves and others just wanting something like that, then just make it.
Yeah. And how long has the Black Council been running?
I would say for about 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. So when we say lead, what does that mean actually? What does that actually look like in practice? Not just the title, but the responsibility.
I think for us, it's a lot of making sure that we're making decisions that match what people want to see in a space like this, because we've had to adapt what the space is going to be, like who it's going to serve, the purpose. Because at first we were more like, we're going to do a bunch of things, we're going to do events, and everyone come up with ideas, and we're going to do all of them. And it was just too much. Like, it was too much. People were like getting tired and feeling like if I show up, I'm going to be put on a team to do this project. It's going to be so much. So just adapting to what people are being responsive to and just seem to want out of like communing with other Black people. I think that's what it's looked like the most for us.
Yeah, I would second that. I think to lead the Black Council is just following what everybody wants to see and taking that advice and then kind of making a strategy on how it's presented. And so that was really kind of our responsibility of just taking in the advice and the suggestions everybody wants to see in Black Council and just in the space in general, and just put in our effort in order to show that we are going to do that.
Yeah. All right. Thank y'all for that. So you guys are going to be hosting a 3-part teaching series over the course of 2 months, sorry. Can you please tell us what you guys are thinking people are going to have in their heads when they come in? And then what do you want people to walk out understanding? And then also, what shift are you hoping to create in the people that come into the space? So it's kind of a 3-part question. So
Yeah.
I'll start. I think for us, because the World Cup is coming in the area, we kind of understand that just because of where it's going to be set, it's going to affect a lot of the Black communities here in Kansas City. And that's why the Black Council, want to take that responsibility to lead the series and present the series. And one of the things that I think we hope people will take out is not necessarily that sporting events are bad. We want, people like sports, but that just kind of think about what these major sporting events look like. Hopefully, maybe other communities in the future, see what conversations are being had in the communities that are being affected by these events, and change kind of how we see these big sporting events in the future. That's a big dream, but the small dream is just locally, hopefully people are educated about what's going to happen and that their frustration is understood and valid. That's going to be coming up these next few months with the World Cup.
Yeah, I think a lot of why we pivoted from doing a lot of events and things to political education series was because people, especially when there's so much going on right now, like the World Cup, one of the issues, or celebration for some, an issue in a lot of other areas. And then everything with ICE and just these jails opening up. There are so many things people want to talk about. And there are spaces to do it, of course, but we wanted like a Black space where people can, if you're not an organizer, or if you are, you can come and you can just share and learn and then find ways to plug in. So it felt like, as a Black council, like political education is such a big part of Black movements and like how they form and how they spread and how people can just connect with each other. So it feels like if we're the Black Council, we should have some political education, and that could be a way for people to feel that activation and feel like they're releasing those things that they've been worried about on their own, like World Cup, worried about what's going to happen, hyper surveillance, worried about what's going to happen. It's like, come together, we can talk about it and feel powerful because we're talking about it together. So yeah, that's kind of what I want people to take away from it. Just, you can talk about these things with other people and we can actually do something about it and feel powerful and not just
Right.
these are things we sit on our phones and worry about type of thing.
Yeah. All right. And so I was going to ask, who are these three part sessions for, but you actually answered that. That's for community members, organizers, non-organizers, come on.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody. So then my next question is, why lean into political education right now instead of jumping into protesting or direct action?
Mhm. I think that especially in decarcerate, we have a lot going on. Like you'll see us interviewing the other working teams. There's a lot of fighting and like even legal work right now. Just a lot of different buckets people can go into. So we want a space where you can come in here, learn and talk, and then we can take you to these spaces. Or if you want to even go to a different organization that has like a different mission, a different fight, you can be introduced to that and go to that organization. So we kind of just want to be a space where you can get introduced, or you can just, even if you already are introduced, just have conversation, because we always have to have that discussion and that learning period before we just go to doing things. So yeah, we can't ever forget the political education.
I would definitely agree with that. Which Avery mentioned earlier that we kind of restructured how Black Council kind of functioned the past year, and that was originally what we were doing. We were doing a lot of action planning, and so I think this year being more political education focused takes that weight off of us, as well as making sure that the education that we get and receive and present is still Black led. And so that is why we are kind of focusing on political education right now. Because as Avery said, is we have so many working teams doing a lot of action, and we're also involved in those teams. So it's like maybe there is a space to just sit and learn.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a really nice answer. I like that. Okay, and so through this series, what kind of power are you guys trying to build? Awareness, organized resistance, long-term infrastructure?
We're trying to figure out the pattern of how we go. I think we're trying to build, I guess, long term, a group of people who know that they can come to us, and this is a space where, because we're gonna bring in speakers, but we also want people who are coming to kind of be the speakers, because there's gonna be a lot of space for discussion and for people to bring their own thoughts, and we want to pick not just like expert speakers, but just people who are experts because they're experiencing these things. So
Right.
that's what we want to focus on. So I think having this be a space where if you feel something and you do work in your community and you want to talk, you can go do it. And we can also lead you to somewhere else where you can really get into the action side. So I think just a long-term base for introducing a lot of these issues to Black people who might not know about Decarcerate, but know about these issues very familiarly. Yeah.
I would second that. I think because we are wanting to kind of open it up and not just like coalition build and base build, but just putting out that knowledge that these discussions are happening. So yeah, I think Avery said it best. Just kind of making sure that the information is out there, and that just a place to share that frustration, just to get it out there.
Yeah, like a safe space to bring your worries or concerns.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. And so, with Kansas City celebrating the World Cup coming to town, I know you guys are raising concerns and you guys spoke about that. What part of the story isn't being told to the public?
I think that's part of why our political education series is important, because everyone knows that the the new jails are popping up because of the World Cup, so everybody in the world knows that. But I think, and then everybody knows just the effects of high-level sporting events on the community. But I don't think that people know like how it's going to affect Kansas City, and that's just I think why the topics for our political education series are going to be based around like how is this going to affect Kansas City, because we know how stuff like this affects the world broadly, but how is it going to affect us?
Right.
Yeah. And I think like over the past few years in Kansas City, people have gotten this weird sense of like the city might be selling out for tourists, or it might be selling out for new people to move here and forgetting about the people who already live here. And the World Cup is kind of like, even though I was gonna say no shade to the World Cup, but it is some shade because they do
All
dirty
shade.
things. I like soccer, but still, just like it's a symbol kind of what's the city gonna do this time to sell us out, because we've seen it time and time again on smaller levels with like ordinances already targeting unhoused people just for being unhoused right before the World Cup and right before they make this World Cup jail. Or try to make. We want to stop that from happening. So I think right now the city just is distrustful and feels like, okay, this is an opportunity for the city to do some type of deal or make some type of build infrastructure or make ordinances that are going to hurt us in the long run and going to make us look more flashy. So I think it's important for people to have a space to talk about that and put words to it and just say, how can we prevent these things before they happen and make sure the things that we're seeing and scoping out, the city doesn't even have a chance to do, like the World Cup jail.
Okay. Yeah. And so historically, major international events bring displacement and increased policing. So how do you guys see that playing out here?
Kansas already, I think yesterday, spent like $65 million for an state of emergency because of the World Cup. It's February. The World Cup's in June.
Yeah.
But I think similar things could happen in Missouri, just like pouring millions into carcerality and into police and into equipment and surveillance and all these things that are going to last after the World Cup. So it's just an excuse, honestly, to say, oh, we're having this big event. We need this security so we don't embarrass ourselves, when really things are fine for the most part. Crime has been decreasing over the past couple of years. So yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but I think this is just a chance for them to try to pour money into things, just like the World Cup jail.
No, you've answered the question.
I think we see kind of what Kansas City does on a smaller scale, and that Kansas City is very, like the surrounding areas is really big. It's a big epicenter for a lot of sports, collegiate sports specifically. So like this area is the hub for, I think, what's it, the Big 12? For basketball, volleyball,
It
football.
sounds right.
And so like obviously the Big 12 championship is not as big as the World Cup, but collegiate sports just overall is getting bigger and bigger, and so we kind of already see what Kansas City and surrounding areas do, and there is a little bit of increased policing. There is a little bit more of like local, like hostility to locals for like the 3 days that these students are here. And this year, because of March Madness, that's basketball. Well, the World Cup's in June. That means for like 3 months, it's just everything's just going to increase. And so, like I said, for some reason, why Kansas City is the epicenter for the Big 12, I don't know why, but every year we see the small increase of policing, surveillance, and then it goes away after a little bit because nobody's here. But this year, more people, the people are slowly going to increase coming here for the next 3 months, which means surveillance is going to increase for the next 3 months, policing is going to increase for the next 3 months. And so just kind of expecting what we see regularly in March times 10.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that answered the question.
No, that does. Because, we usually see it on the smaller scale, like you guys were talking about with the Big 12. But now it's going to be even bigger because there's going to be like thousands of people at least to come and see the World Cup, and it's going to be during the semifinals. So it's just like, yeah.
Everything, yeah.
And it's going to be from March to June. Like it's a longer span of time where they're just, instead of it, slowing down, it's going to just increase. So, yeah. Okay, so who stands to benefit from the World Cup, and who is going to be absorbing the cost?
I keep forgetting out.
I think who benefits from the World Cup are really, I don't think it's going to be the wealthier residents, because I think they're going to feel it. I think business owners, especially those who do not operate inside of Kansas City, because we know there's a lot of businesses that are in Kansas City, but the people who operate and control it do not operate in Kansas City. And if we look at the local business owners, they're gonna feel it. They're gonna hurt them. And so I think the people that is going to benefit isn't anybody in Kansas City or in the surrounding areas, because it's gonna, except for maybe like the top of the Kansas City wealthy, but hotels are going to, like, hotels, grocery stores, other businesses are going to kind of struggle. Even some of the best businesses here are going to go through some things. And so the only people that benefit are not anyone in Kansas City.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because things like this, like in a perfect world, sporting events and celebrations and huge things would just bring good things. It would just be something everyone can be like, oh, we love this, we like soccer, it's here, OMG, this is wonderful. But we know that people want to make money and people want to present a certain image. So I think, honestly, the people who I think who benefit the most will be the people who want Kansas City to become a city that's geared towards tourists and become a city that the world sees as, oh, okay, Kansas City, they know how to run an event, so we'll build our headquarters here, or we'll have this next event here. And I think there's good things that can always come with development, but I think the way that it's been done and the fact that they're even trying to build a World Cup jail in the first place shows that it's for certain people. So it's like the people who could lose the most are the people who have lived in Kansas City for all their lives. Their families lived in Kansas City, and they will not see all the new shiny things, even though they've built Kansas City up to what it's supposed to be. They get priced out. While Kansas City becomes more of a destination, because we have like the worst rising housing prices in the country, like in ratio with our prices, and just over time, the last couple of years, how it's grown percentage wise, the worst in the country. And if we continue to try to be something for other people and ignore our own, then it's going to continue to go that route, especially with us saying we can handle an event like this, which I don't know if we can, but
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't think we can. Okay, so since you were talking about the World Cup jails, let's go into the trailer jails. So for people who are hearing this for the first time, what is a trailer jail? Because that is an odd term.
We don't even know what a trailer jail is supposed to be.
Like, from our understanding, it's like those ship box containers. They're these ship box ships. Yeah, they're trying to build jails in these ship box containers.
Okay.
And that's what that's why they're like the trailer jails, because trailers are synonymous with like movable. You can move them, and so consider the trailer jails are just going to be placed here for now. But we know how Kansas City is; they're just gonna be here.
Yeah.
And so, like,
Because where are they going to go after that?
exactly.
Yeah.
And sorry.
Oh, there you go.
And we've been kind of looking around, like, our other cities also kind of building weird infrastructure for policing and incarceration for the World Cup. Like, are we trading these jails? Are we giving these jails to somebody? It is just Kansas City. We look at all the other host cities. Are they doing, like, are we sharing these trailer jails maybe? No, it's just Kansas City that's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this trailer jail, I think over time they've changed like the materials they were going to use for it. Because when they first came out, they were like, it's going to be metal. It might not be. It's going to be metal. It might not even be like well temperature controlled because it's just a metal box by the river. And now I think some things have changed, but it's made by the people, or they want it to be made by the people who made Guantanamo Bay, Brown and Root. So same company who already has a history of making carceral infrastructure where people are getting tortured, where conditions are inhumane. They're trying to make a deal with them, which makes no sense to do that for the city, especially because it's planned to be really just for like low-level offenses. And now things are, because they called it temporary jail, but now it seems like, hopefully, I don't know if we're supposed to say this, but it seems like they're moving towards making it permanent. And yeah, it's just an easy way to make something under the ruse of we need it for the World Cup, but really they just want more space to be able to incarcerate people. So it's just an inhumane jail that they're trying to get cheaply done by people who already know how to make corrupt jails.
Yeah. And then you were talking about a metal box by the river. You know, don't know if it's climate controlled. In the summertime, it's June. It gets hot. So just, yeah, that doesn't sound good. So expanding incarceration often gets framed as public safety. And so how is that the narrative that's being pushed now? And how are you guys challenging it?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, or a lot of what people are trying to say is we don't have space in our other jails, so we need something new. But when you build new carceral infrastructure, that can stay for years and years and years and years when you build new jails. And that's saying you're committed to crime is going to get worse. We're going to need to throw more of our citizens into imprisonment when all you have to do is maybe not incarcerate homeless people for just sitting on the street. Then you'll have more rooms inside the jail that I guess you want to fill. It's like there's so many ways. Like we presented REACH, our pre-arrest diversion program, where instead of going into jail, you go to the health department and you get services and resources. Those are people who would be in the jail that don't benefit at all from being in there. Not that anyone does, but there's so many ways that we could just not have people be in jail. But they present it like America always has, as this is the only way. We can't think outside this box. We need, if you say we don't need this jail, that means that you want people to be hurt. You want people to just go crazy and do all these things and they look at you crazy like you don't have a sense of what reality is. When we do have a sense of what reality is, it's just not what's been told to us as the only option, because you can change who's going into the jail. You could make it so that people who, I think last year was like 5% of people daily in the jail were people who were arrested for just like public urination. Build a restroom, like things like that could be solved in different ways. They make it seem like no, there's no other option besides build and build and build. And that's what America's always done, just build and build and build instead of actually care about people, because no other country has this many jails and crime is decreasing. So make it make sense.
Yeah, I think that Avery said just build and build and build, but they're building the wrong things. Like, we know what decreases crime. we know it's education, access to resources, healthy food, access to food, and just better access to better ways of life. And so we see what Kansas City's doing. We see what the surrounding areas are doing. They're decreasing. I mean, like, how many grocery stores have closed down already?
Oh, yeah.
How many, you know, like, all of these things, how are our schools doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know education's important. How crazy are the hospitals and the wait times there? We know that health and better health outcome is important. So it's like they're purposely destroying the area to justify building carceral facilities by just hurting us to the point where, you know, to do the things that are justified to put us in jail.
Yeah.
You know, they could just build a grocery store,
Literally
hospital.
build grocery store, hospital, restrooms.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And kind of you guys kind of already answered this question, but if building more cages isn't the answer, what does real safety actually look like in Black communities?
Yeah, I think rebuilding relationships with each other,
Mm-hmm.
Education, I think just putting in resources in Black communities that are accessible. So our grocery stores in these areas, better access to hospitals and schools. I know during the school bond campaign, Brittany Foley, her son's local school closed down. Like, reopening local schools, you know, investing in, you know, the schools and the education of Black children, and in giving just access of life in the Black communities of Kansas City that we see in other areas of Kansas City.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say anything else, but, you know, I think north of the river should, you know, be south of the river. Everything, you know, off of 435 should be over here as well.
Yeah.
And just investing in the Black community, and trust that we can trust in each other, that we can do this, and that trust in each other that we can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just trusting that, especially when there's resources there for people to be able to go to and not have to feel desperate or just feel to a point where they're even coming close to having to need any intervention or anything. Put a resource there, have resources already in place. So many people won't ever run into even that fear of being close to law enforcement or having an issue with someone else when something's already in place, when people know that they're going to be fed at the end of the day, when people know that there's a house to go back to. And it's so easy to invest in these things. Like, people already know what people need. It's just that there are certain people who profit off of not giving people those things, not giving our community those things, and blaming the community for not having what it isn't given. And there's so many people now who are trying to make our own things and take care of ourselves. Like when the grocery store shut down, how the Defender, the KC Defender, was giving homes in the radius of the grocery store fruits and vegetables and recipes and things like that. I think there are people who are trying to say, if we aren't going to be given the things that keep us safe, we're going to do these things to keep each other safe and fill in that gap of all these things we were owed and already supposed to have. We're going to make sure that we have them so that if someone's hungry, they don't have to steal something and then get in trouble because they're hungry. Right. They can come to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So looking ahead, what are realistic wins of in this year? And then what about the longer arc in the next, 5-10 years?
Yeah, I think our biggest one is if we shut down this plan for the World Cup jail. And there's a lot of people who are working in a lot of different ways towards doing that. Like, there's research going on, there's people who are interested in direct action for the jail, a lot of things that we have planned in order to make sure that there isn't a trailer jail, there isn't a contract with Brown and Root and ties with Guantanamo Bay happening in Kansas City. So that would be, I think, our biggest win, especially with everything happening with ICE and just detention centers, just trying and trying and trying to get into Kansas City. Just if we can band together, especially with people who are just now getting awakened to, wait, these things are corrupt, band together with everyone to be like, Kansas City is not building more carceral infrastructure right now, and we want to invest that money in something else. I think even if we just change the narrative and put a pause on the jail too, obviously, then that would be our biggest wins.
Yeah, I think stopping the World Cup jail, this will be the biggest win this year. But I think within the next 5-10 years, I think reinvestment in the community and stopping just carceral facilities just in general, because when you talk to conversations with people in the community, they're just like, oh, I thought they were already building a jail. What about the other jail? There's like 3 jails in the conversation. There's 3 different jails in the conversation. And so just not making any of those jails in the conversation, not building those jails in the conversation. Because that is what's been confusing a lot of people. They think that, oh, they're just building 1 jail. No, they're building like 3.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get around everybody. And so just not just stopping the World Cup jail this year, but stopping the building of the other ones and investing and putting in what we know works, that keeps communities safe, and putting that in and making our community safe.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, it's like the Jackson County Jail is one of the jails. That's one we're not really involved with because they're pretty far in the building process. And then there's a city jail that we've been fighting for the past 3 years. And now there's this World Cup jail that's popped up maybe the last 6 months that was in talks before. So, and then also the ICE detention center that did get stopped, which was amazing. It was a great win. So, yeah, those are the 3 if you want to know what's happening right now.
Yeah. All right. And so after someone listens to this episode, what are some immediate next steps that they can take?
I think get connected with us, come to our base meetings, come to our political education series, show up to Black Council. I mean, I think show up to really any event that Decarcerate KC is either hosting or aligning with, and just get connected with us. Because if we are tied to an event, that event is aligned with us, our mission and what we plan to do. So just kind of catch us around, really.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Catch us around wherever we're at. Follow us on social media. And for Black Council, if you want to be a part of what we're doing in the conversations we're having, at least just to start off before getting into work, you can always come. They're open to everybody. This one is going to be March 1st. It's usually the first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And if you want more information, you can always send us a message. Yeah, you can even send We Keep Us Safe a message and just find out how to get plugged in, because this is the time they're trying to take so much away from us that people have to come together, and we just need more people power. That's always the main thing that gets things done, is people coming in the room. Even if you think you don't have much to contribute, you definitely do. So just take that step to connect with people who are doing some work.
And a lot of people are scared to show because they feel like they don't have a lot to contribute. They don't have a lot to say. They're just like, their presence alone says that this is something that needs to be talked about. So even if you're like, I have no idea what's going on, but I'm aligned with the people who are saying it,
Right.
Just show up and, just be there, because that means that what we're saying or what other organizations that we align ourselves with are saying, people are listening, people care about our message, people care what we are about. And so even if you're like, because I know that scared me before joining the organizing space, and when talking with people, that kind of scared them in joining organizing spaces. Just like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's going on. Showing up is like 60% of it.
Yeah.
And just like having your face there is just big, even if you feel like you don't have anything verbally or educationally or materially to contribute. Your biggest contribution is showing up.
Yeah. Because 60%, that's more than 50. Like, that's more than half. So, yeah. Okay. So, do you guys have any final messages directly to the Black residents in Kansas City?
I would say show up. If you're watching this, anything resonated with you, or anything made you mad about plans that the city has for Kansas City, then show up, get involved. We want to see you and talk with you. And yeah, even though some things feel a little less hopeful than before, we're committed to having Kansas City be the Kansas City we want to see. And we truly believe that we will see that vision come to life, and that we can stop these jails from popping up and hurting our community. So if you want to feel that hope, then this is a space for hope and a space for action. So
Yeah.
For me, I think also show up, but also I think the message that I want to purvey is that organizations like Decarcerated and others, and Casey Defender, we don't pop out because we want to. We pop out because we need to, because there's a need for it. And so for the Black community of Kansas City who maybe are having these conversations at home, at church, or at work, show up, and that it's okay there is a space to have these conversations, and that's not behind closed doors, and that your feelings and your frustrations about what's going on, it's not just you.
Yeah. Okay. So, when history looks back at this moment, what do you want it to say the community chose to do?
I'd say maybe that the community chose to stand with itself, to be with itself, that the community chose to stand with the community.
yeah, that's exactly how I feel. The community chose to stand with the community, and the people weren't afraid of all the impending things and all the money that might be on the other side, because we have people and we have a love for the city and for each other. So yeah, the people stood up and didn't allow these other forces to change the narrative of what our home is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Even though I think there's a lot of division in Kansas City overall, when we talk about economics, race, whatever, I don't think anybody in Kansas City wants Kansas City to be a tourist city. Like, regardless of anybody, even the people that we do not align with, even our oppositions, are like, I don't want Kansas City to be a tourist city. Like, the fact that we're all agreeing on this, that's a bad thing, which means that's a thing. And so, like I said, like, community, standing up with the community, even though we don't like a lot of people in our community, just that you can come here, but we're for our people, regardless of who our people is. Obviously, we for the Black people, but on the bigger scale of how the world views Kansas City, that we are for our people, and we don't really want to be ran over by people who aren't our people.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming today and answering all these questions. You guys had some beautiful answers. Do you guys have any social medias or contact information that you would like to drop?
Decarcerate KC. My own, probably not. I don't post anything political. Well, I do a little bit, but
Yeah,
selfies.
Decarcerate KC on Instagram. That's where we're most active. And my personal stuff's my personal stuff.
No, I feel that. Same here.
And as well as we, like I said, not just follow us on Instagram, but I'm not gonna shout anybody out, but like we align ourselves with a lot of other organizations here, so follow those as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to shout some of those out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, to follow up with, KC Defender, Community Movement Builders Against KC, Operation Liberation, just like a lot of the organizations here that are Black led are aligned with each other, and we communicate with each other often, and so not just keep up with us, Decarcerate KC, but keep up with kind of all of the organizations as well that we're all working together with to get the full picture.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you.